Hey, what's going on, friends? My podcast every day is broken up into two parts on the free platform. The first part, Act 1, is right now. When it's all done, go right on over to Act 2 to get the second half of the podcast. Thank you so much for checking out my show. Hello, friends. Welcome into the Eric St. Show podcast, the daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. From right here in the Impact Power Sports Studio. Impact Power Sports, they're awesome. Get a golf cart from them. Yamaha golf cart. How about an ATV, side-by-side, UTV, motorcycle, e-bike, go-kart, scooter, anything with wheels, anything with an engine. You can get it at Impact Power Sports. Got a great service department, too. If your existing gear goes south or you need an upgrade or something goes haywire, they can take care of you with their full service department. So, hello, we meet again. Show number 1672, if I'm not mistaken, has begun. This is Fire-versary. It's not only Fire-versary season, it's also starting the podcast season. I just passed my 7-year mark of the podcast. I just passed my 7-year Fire-versary from BBL. Those kind of fall at about the same time because Fire-versary is January 4. Podcast-versary is January 6. 1 year before the world's biggest asshole convention. Not to be outdone, though. February is also a big Fire-versary month. February 3, I had to write all this down. I don't have it down, like, in my brain. But February 3, which this year falls on a Tuesday, is last show GRD-versary. Then, February 12th is the official GRD Fire-versary. So I got in trouble on the 3rd, and I didn't get fired till the 12th. Boy, to be a fly on the wall at the radio station, to have found out what was said on either the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, or 11th. Fired on a Friday. I remember because David Bowie died at some point during that week. Also, the Super Bowl happened. One of the Super Bowls. One of the ones that Peyton Manning was in when he was with Denver. I remember that. So fired on the Friday, but it wasn't announced on the radio until February 16th. So last day on the air, the 3rd, audience isn't made aware until the 16th of February. Wow. All over saying I didn't like Joel's pants. Amanda says, I thought Bowie died before Alan Rickman. I don't know. All I remember is there being a lot of talk at about the same time. Be careful, Amanda. You're talking. That usually means there's confusion. Who's talking about Alan Rickman? What are you doing? What? Huh? What is wrong with you? January 10th. All right, whatever. Who cares? Shut up. You're already annoying me. God. So, yeah, I'm sure I'll be looking back to those historic moments. Cole says they gave you a Lifetime Achievement Award so they could pivot to the pussy show they have now. Well, I do actually believe that. I do believe that it was like, okay, he's going to fuck it up, and as soon as he does, we're going to get rid of him. And it was an opportunity to cut salary So let's take him making fun of Joel's pants and then fabricating a story. And they did fabricate a story, 100%. Russ Hines in particular, who said he's furious, Joel. And then I said, well, let me talk to him because I knew him from years past. No, you will not. And then when I finally did corner him a couple months later, he goes, no, I wasn't even pissed. It wasn't a big deal at all. I just expressed my annoyance and that was the end of it. So that was a lie. Oh my God. But here we said, frankly, if I had been, there was no getting away from getting fired there. If you think about how the world is now and how, in particular, that show is now, there is no way I fit in with my brand of, about what I talk about, how I talk, how honest I am, the things that go through my mind, things that I focus on. It's not really meant for the radio. I think that we got away with a lot more because we were kind of under the radar. And I think that once you have the success that we had in one market, and let's not, there is only one market that the show ever got real success, like juggernaut style success, unprecedented success, and that was in Grand Rapids. That's it. They try to tell you otherwise, it's bullshit. So, yeah, here we go. We're getting set for Fire-versary, the stretch run, and then that will be 10 years. Oh, my God. Now, one of my favorite things is people who say, oh, it's been 10 years, get over it. Look, you got to understand something. This is not about getting over. This is about, I'm thankful that show is on the air. I am thankful that they do the show that they do now. Anybody who tells you or says that I make fun of that show because I'm mad or I'm bitter, what a crock of shit. What the hell am I mad about? I'm excited that they do the shitty show that they do. That allows for so many options. To critique that show weekly on Who Are These Free Beers for an Hour is one of the most fun things that I'm able to do each week with Ben Glaze. In fact, we did that again yesterday for show number 84. And Ben had a number of clips from when Hot Wings and Steve were together because Greg was stranded back in Curacao, which he calls Curacao. And so we parked on that and we had a great time. Had a number of clips to play, and I want you to check it out for free at patreon.com/Eric Zane. patreon.com/Eric Zane. 7-day free trial is yours. Just fill out the form and you're good. You can watch it or listen to it. Branjo says, and now you give them free air checks. You're doing them a favor. Ike Humminspert says, honestly, you just say what all of us former fans feel. We also did the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast, where we touched on a number of topics, including Amanda dropping a big revelation about her grandfather. And I'm not going to say it here, but let me just say we were like, what? She has some very interesting info about Grandpa that Amanda never fails to shock, frankly, either with dumbass comments in the chat or bits of news that we're like, huh? Now, this isn't as big of news as the time that she said that she had like a threesome with a couple of dudes that were, I think they were cousins, the two dudes. At first we said they were her cousins, but no. Two dudes that are cousins. But this was still fantastic, and she's an absolute legend for sharing it. All right. So welcome to each and every one of you. We had a hell of a time on those shows last night. Another great Big Fraud Thursday. So glad that you're here with me. Pooh Bear expected to travel this weekend, and I'm like, I don't know. The weather is supposed to be horrible. So she might be canceling that, and that would mean that we are together. Her plan is to go see my dad and my beloved stepmother. That has become a priority. More visits as time passes for a number of reasons. Amanda says, my life isn't that interesting. Yeah, it is. Alan says Amanda's drop was better than mine. I don't know what you mean. You can't expect me to remember that shit. I don't know if you've seen the story about the basketball point shaving scheme. So a number of loser colleges that probably the players don't make any money. You know, you hear about name, image, likeness. I honestly believe that name, image, likeness is leading to more college basketball players being willing to work with illegal gambling to intentionally screw up basketball games so that the bettors will make money and then they get a kickback. And the reason why I say that is name, image, likeness, the basketball. Let's say a guy is really good. He wants to play for Michigan. Michigan, through the name, image, likeness scenario that is in play right now, that player is actually able to make a pretty sizable amount of money. And it doesn't have to be basketball. It could be any sport. And the way a lot of them do it now, as I understand it, is you'll get like a guy or a group of investors pay the guy money. He plays, and then they sell off the investors to whoever wants it. Ads for, hey, I'm so-and-so, and come to this restaurant. Shit like that. Mike is here. Hey, Mike. That's Mike in Connecticut, right? So because of that, my theory is these other players that are kind of shitty, they're like, well, I want to make some money too. So they get in with the wrong crowd, and then they say, all right, I want you to fucking tank the game. Mike in Vermont. That's it. Damn it. God, I suck. So feds have uncovered the latest gambling ring, and I'm not sure exactly how they're tipped off into figuring it out, but I can only speculate that because you see a game between two schools that suck, and I would guess that the odds makers and the bookmakers, when they see a certain number of bets coming in or action on a game that nobody gives a shit about, that's a red flag. Why in the world would anybody give a shit about whatever game and put all this amount of money down on it? I think that kind of like alerts people. So the Fed started poking around, and they uncovered a massive point shaving scheme with a number of players, one of them from right here. So these loser basketball players that aren't going to make a dime playing basketball in the future, I'm convinced that they're like, well, fuck, I want to make some money too. And this is why they are committing to doing this.
An illegal scheme that allegedly rigged college basketball games. Marquise Hastings, one of the 20 defendants named in a federal indictment. Hastings graduated from Godwin Heights High School in Wyoming and played for 2 seasons at Western Michigan University. Authorities say the scheme's masterminds paid out a bribe to Hastings to underperform in games. Hastings allegedly agreed to keep participating in that scheme. Federal court documents show that one of the allegedly rigged games was played at Western Michigan University's campus. News 8's Kalamazoo reporter Josh Sanchez live outside of University Arena at Reed Fieldhouse with more on this case. Josh.
Go.
Yeah, that's right, Brian. 70 pages of court documents outline a vast case that has two ties to West Michigan. As you mentioned, federal prosecutors say that Marquise Hastings was recruited for this scheme when he played back in Pennsylvania. And separately, federal prosecutors also allege that other suspects in this case allegedly fixed one of those games here, right in Kalamazoo.
I don't know why they have to have him outside of the field house to do that. Why can't he just be in the studio?
It's a case that began overseas with alleged rigging taking place in Chinese Basketball Association games that soon transferred stateside with the target of college basketball.
It took a great degree of effort.
Federal prosecutors say fixers tapped into a large network of people.
They knew the players. Many of them were players themselves. They were alumni. They were trainers. They were recruiters. They were networkers. They were people of influence. And because of that influence, they added gravitas and legitimacy to the scheme.
Court documents say one of the suspects recruited was West Michigan native Marquise Hastings, along with two other basketball players at Robert Morris University in Pennsylvania. Hastings had played at
Apparently, they only have one clip of him scoring a bucket because they keep showing the same one.
Michigan University the previous year. At Robert Morris, investigators say the trio agreed and underperformed during a game in February 2024. After that game, which earned the fixers money, Hastings allegedly texted, quote, "We might as well do the next one too. This was too easy." The trio would again underperform at a game in Indiana.
This was too easy. And Defendant Smith agreed, it says, telling Defendant Hastings to, quote, "say less." So the other guy was like, "Don't say so much. Just keep your mouth shut."
Separately, three State University of New York at Buffalo basketball players were allegedly recruited to underperform in the first half against Western Michigan University in a February 2024 game. Western ended up winning that game. Investigators say fixers would approach student athletes with bribes of $10,000 to $30,000 per game. In a statement sent to our Buffalo sister station, the University of Buffalo Director of Athletics says they are deeply concerned by the allegations, and the two former players in the case transferred to other programs after that season. The statement said in part, "We believe these to be isolated incidents that in no way reflect the values and core ethics of the Division of Athletics or our men's basketball program."
Well, you hope so.
Here in Kalamazoo, Western's athletic department released a statement on X reiterating that the only reference to the school in this case were the allegations against those three Buffalo players. It said in part, within that indictment, there are no allegations directed at WMU, its own performance in any contest, past or present, or the activities of any current student athletes. I spoke to one basketball fan and student who tells me it's shocking to hear young athletes gamble with their careers.
People can act like money won't be a factor, but it clearly is, and it always has been.
By the way, that first guy in this story, I already forgot his name. He was drafted by the Gold this past draft, but he did make the team.
But now it's even more prevalent right now. So, yeah, it's even pro sports, like that stuff, I feel like it's going to happen. There's going to be bad people that get involved and stuff like that. But it's crazy, like you said, kids my age that can control the outcome of so many other people's lives with the money and stuff like that. So it's just a crazy scenario.
I reached out to a spokesperson for the Mid-American Conference. The same group that both Western Michigan and another Michigan school named in that complaint are both in, and I did not hear back before deadline. Live in Kalamazoo, Josh Sanchez, News 8.
I'm curious as to who the bettors were. Was this affiliated? Were these just randos? Was it affiliated with organized crime? I'm interested in how they found this out. One can only speculate. Cole says this portion of the news brought to you by DraftKings. Amanda says, man, criminals need to stay stupid and keep texting their shit. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't think it would have mattered. These once the feds get onto you, and again, I'm very interested as to how, was there a whistleblower involved? How did this all come to light? And the idea in a lot of these cases was they would get the players to underperform in the first half of a game, which I didn't know you can do this, but you can make a bet on just the first half, either the outcome, total points, over, whatever. So they would do that, and then in the second half, the team would then try. And in a lot of cases, they would come back and win the game or something like that. But they thought it was. I get it. I understand. Why players would want to do this. I think that they need. God, it's tough because a lot of these players are on the fringe. They're not going to be able to make money as an athlete playing basketball. It's going to be harder for them because they're just not as good. And they see all these other players making a ton of jack, and it probably pisses them off. And I wonder if that has something to do with it, the motivation to break the law and whatnot. But, fuck, man, that temptation is very real. And once you do it once, it's like the guy said, it's just too easy. He's going to do it again. I'm surprised we don't hear more about this. And I wonder if there is more or if this is just the tip of the iceberg. Holy shit. Thank you to Man Bun Chris for tipping me off on that story. There has been a second ICE shooting in Minneapolis. Hey, this is Eric Zane, and your information is being sold online. You know, the personal stuff. Search your own name. It's surprising what's out there. That's because people are taking your information and they're selling it. I've got a way to make all of your personal information disappear. You are not for sale. Whether you agreed to it or not, that information is available for people to buy and sell. Not okay. It's 100% true. Data brokers make billions selling your private details, and you get nothing. You don't even get a choice. Aura lets you fight back. AURA. They remove your personal data from broker sites and keep it off. Aura also alerts you fast if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura is more than just data broker removal. It's a full digital security suite that protects every part of your life online. Aura gives you a VPN to stay private, antivirus to block threats, a password manager to keep logins safe, and spam call protection to cut off the scammers. Aura also scans the dark web for your most sensitive info like your social security number, bank logins, and passwords, and notifies you instantly if they are exposed. And if your identity is ever stolen, you're backed up by up to $5 million in insurance and 24/7 U.S.-based fraud support to help you recover quickly. And right now, you can try Aura free for 14 days when you visit aura.com/remove. AURA.com/remove. That's enough time for Aura to start removing your personal information from data broker sites. Sign up today at aura.com/remove and get the peace of mind that your privacy, identity, and finances are safeguarded. AURA.com/remove. Certain terms apply. See the site for details. This time, it sparked intense confrontations between protesters and ICE agents again with a second shooting last night that has further escalated things in the Twin Cities. Well, check this out and see what the hell is going on here. My God. I think it's going to...
We continue to comments from Minneapolis where a federal agent shot another person last night. That person was shot in the leg.
The Department of Homeland Security says the man attacked the agent during an arrest. The entire situation is keeping tensions high across that city.
TMJ4's Jenna Ray back in Minneapolis tonight. She's outside the federal building there. Jenna, walk us through what's going on around you.
Susan and Steve, a lot going on, as you can see behind me. Excuse the profanities. We have no control over what people are saying here. So if you see signs or hear things that we don't usually air on TV, that is why. As you can see behind me, there are dozens.
She's good, by the way, getting that out that quickly and cleanly.
Of protesters who have been out here for the most part of the last 24 hours. A lot of people coming from the suburbs of Minneapolis, from the suburbs of St. Paul, coming in here. We're about 15 miles south of downtown Minneapolis. Now, right now, these chants, they've been going all day. I want to pan off to my left a little bit. As you can see, there are some federal agents who are sitting behind these cars back here. Just a few minutes before we went on air, about 2 to 3 dozen federal agents in full riot gear came out confronting protesters. This has happened several times throughout the day today. federal agents exchanging words with the protesters. And protesters here remain solid that it's actually the federal agents who are inciting fear and inciting things to have those tensions rise. As you can see, these vehicles have been pulling out all day, people coming, trying to stop these vehicles. This has been happening all day. I did speak with one protester who has been out here for several days in a row. Her name is Carol. She tells me what she feels like the climate here in Minneapolis is like.
He's been looking for an excuse since he won the election, and Walz did not he did not secede his opinions. Trump has been looking for an excuse to directly attack Walz and directly attack the state that has voted against him 3 separate times in 3 separate elections.
Now, we know the president has threatened to enact that Insurrection Act. Nothing has happened yet, but people here are calling on Governor Walz to activate the National Guard to help with tensions here on the protester side of things. Not asking for the federal government to step in, but asking for Governor Walz to bring in the National Guard to help calm things down on this end. Susan, Steve.
Jenna Ray reporting live in Minneapolis. Thank you.
I don't know if that'll do
We
anything.
continue to follow developments from Minneapolis, where
The Insurrection Act. That would allow Trump to deploy federal troops to, quote, stop the protesters and stop the attacks on ICE. You got to admire the resolve of these people. There's no way I'm doing that. No way. I couldn't do it. But these people are sticking to their guns, and it just seems to me like that is a bad idea, in my opinion. We shall see. I sure hope that things calm down there. Side note, Trump is not waiting for future generations to name things after him. It is happening right now. It was an article I saw about the unorthodox branding. Typically, a president will be well out of office or maybe even deceased before things start to be named after a president. We are 1 year in. There is now the Trump U.S. Institute of Peace, the Trump Kennedy Center Performing Arts venue, and the new Trump battleship. There's the Trump accounts for tax-deferred investments, the Trump prescription government website, which will offer direct sales of prescription drugs, the Trump USA Gold Card Visa that costs at least $1 million, and the Trump route for international peace and prosperity. What is the Trump route for international peace and prosperity? Well, it's a roadway that is between Azerbaijan and my beloved Armenia, included in his brokered peace deal between the two countries. So the transit corridor that you can't fuck with because these two countries have hated each other is the Trump route for international peace and prosperity. Look, I am not the guy to sit here and indict Trump for anything. It's, in my opinion, a bad idea. And I've been, not that I'm afraid to, because I've been very outspoken about Trump. But some of the shit that Trump has said and done, I've actually agreed with. I've actually liked it. Do I care that Trump puts his name on shit? No. Is Trump an absolute egomaniac? Absolutely. He's probably aware of it. I don't know if he'd admit it. But when your job is to not only lead the country and at the same time stick your finger in everybody that doesn't like you's eye. That's how you do it. I would do the same damn thing. On Friday, today, Trump will attend a ceremony in Florida where local officials will dedicate a 4-mile stretch of road that goes from the airport to Mar-a-Lago being named President Trump Boulevard. At no previous time in history have we consistently named things after a president who is still in office, said Jeffrey Engel, the David Gergen director of the Center for Presidential History at Southern Methodist University in Dallas. I'm guessing that will eventually be known as the Trump Center for Presidential History. He says, one might even extend that to say a president who is still alive. Those kind of memorializations are supposed to be just that, memorials to the passing hero. In 50 years or 100 years, Trump will still garner the most attention. Say what you will about the presidency, the current state of affairs, and God knows how he will be remembered in 50 or 100 years. But think to how we feel now. Like if you were to, in your mind, go back to historic presidential names, you're thinking Washington, you're thinking Lincoln, you're thinking FDR, maybe Eisenhower, I don't know. You might think of Richard Nixon or Ronald Reagan for whatever reason, good or bad. In my opinion, Trump will exceed them when it comes to interest in the life of that person, good or bad, because of all of the things that have happened up to now. Whether you agree or disagree, there will be no denying the interest in Donald Trump. Now, it might be people wanted to take a shit on his grave, which I totally get that. I mean, he's one of the biggest assholes that has ever walked the planet Earth. Impossible to disagree with it. Even people who love Trump know he's a total asshole. Rebecca says, holy ego, Batman. He's really embracing the dictator role. Stevie calls him a rapist. Look, Trump was found liable in a civil suit for that exact thing. Now, how he didn't, that didn't happen to be a criminal thing, I will never know. Amanda says that Martin Luther King Jr. was not a saint either, and he had a bunch of stuff named after him. Granted, it was after he died, but if we know then what we know now, would we be naming the stuff after him? Now, I don't know. The only thing I know that comes to mind that I've heard about King is he's a womanizer. And I think that most people, when they look back on King, they look back fondly as a man of peace, right? Rebecca says, I fear that Trump is going to be looked at in the same light as Hitler. History will not look kindly on him. Yeah, I can't go that far. I can't. I don't believe that. And maybe it's because I don't want to believe that. So with that statement, what you would have to do then is what would have to happen is between now and the end of his presidency, 3 years, if he's going to be compared in the same light as Hitler, that would mean he would have to have a genocide. So I think that that statement you made is ridiculous. There's no way in hell that Trump is going to make the final solution here and we'll be allowed to get away with it. There's no way in hell. It can't happen. It would never happen. That's why I always get bummed out when morons like Jesse Ventura say that history is repeating itself. We are doomed to repeat history. I don't believe that. Now, I might be wrong. I might be proven wrong. But I do not believe for 1 second that in the next 3 years there's going to be a genocide. And that is the only way you could compare Trump to Adolf Hitler. So that might be one of the dumber things that I have ever heard you say, as much as I love you. Piano Finger Banger says just that. If Trump could get away with it, he would absolutely obliterate everyone that does not worship his spray-tanned ass. You see, you're saying that from a position of anger because you don't like Trump. That is there's no way that that's true. I don't believe that. And nor should you. I understand that you're pissed off because you don't like the way things are going. But everything that has happened with Trump so far, as much as I don't like it either, has been, as the term goes, lawful but awful, or awful but lawful, however you want to say it. For the most part, give or take. There might be some pushing of the boundaries of the law, to be sure. But I'm reasonably sure we aren't going to see a genocide. Nick says, the fact that people who say negative things about Trump are alive to say it the day after means he is not Hitler or Chairman Mao or Joseph Stalin. Exactly. Come on. You guys got to quit overstating shit. No one's getting killed. Well, there have been people who have died under unfortunate circumstances, but not under the, not like, Auschwitz or Dachau or Bergen-Belsen. Okay? I think it's ridiculous to even suggest that that would be a thing. Becca Shea says it's only lawful because nobody is stopping him. No, some of the things Trump has done, he has absolutely skirted the law. I agree with you on that. Cole says, I fear that people on the left won't make it 3 more years because their hatred is going to give themselves heart attacks, and then he laughs in everybody's face. Now, that is Cole's. He loves that. He loves everything Trump is doing. If he had the opportunity to blow Trump, Cole here in Colorado Springs, I think he actually would. Piano Fingerbanger says, what has Trump possibly said or done that makes you think he would not do that? That being, I guess, a genocide? Well, I don't think he has said or done anything to make me think that he would. So that's pretty much what I base that on. Stevie says, that is why Cole is also blocked. She put the block on you, Cole. All right? You have pissed her off. Rebecca says he's investigating members of Congress for speaking out against him. He's investigating reporters. He's intimidating them into compliance. Dono says Trump did not write any current immigration law. He is simply enforcing them. Shitty as they may be, it is the president's job to enforce federal law. David in Hudsonville says the asshole of the day is the lefty chat. No way. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit here and indict members of the audience and alienate them over their opinions on Trump. All right? Trump is the biggest asshole that's ever walked the face of the earth. So you got to understand, a guy like him pisses people off. Amanda says, I feel like people that are up in arms about everything are the ones that are going to get other people killed, like what happened to Charlie Kirk. Not a bad point. I think that the radicalization of people with the number of people in this country is bound to happen. We are you know, how much time has happened since Butler, PA. Trump has had more than one attempt on his life. A mouthpiece for the right lost his life. And that's just horrible. David says he may be an asshole, but he isn't Hitler. I agree with you. There is no way. I don't believe any of that nonsense about what was suggested here on the chat. I believe that Trump is enforcing the law. And as Donald said quite perfectly, I thought, as fucked up as it may be, it's still the law and it's still being enforced. Erica Kirk and Tom Brady. I thought he was dating some chick who was super young. Well, she might be. Maybe that's her. I don't know. I doubt that. I think Mrs. Kirk won't get married again. Takes a long time to get over something like that, especially as horrific as that was. I mean, we're talking, this was right around mid-September that he was murdered. There's no way she's dating anybody. Cole says, if you just say Trump, they lose their minds. That's why it's funny. 3 years to go. That's a long time for these folks. Amanda says, I love how it's the left that are getting so goddamn pissed off. Aren't they supposed to be for peace? Well, I don't have a problem with people on the left getting pissed off at all. And I don't think anybody should. I think that it's foolish to get in the way of these psycho ICE members who will shoot you. I would not get in their way. I mean, honestly, I give people on the left protesting ICE as much as I would never do it. I think you have to have some balls to do that. And that's what they believe is right, okay? So I think that those are people who have the willingness to stand up for that, to have a lot of nerve, frankly. And again, that's more nerve than I have. I'm not doing that. Fuck you. Becca Shea says, or Amanda says, I love how it's the left that are getting so goddamn pissed off. Aren't they supposed to be for peace? Can't fight fire with fire. Megan says, what the fuck does that even mean, Amanda? All right, so here we go. We're playing the feud. Piano Finger Banger says to Cole, did you ever stop to actually consider why people are so upset at what he's doing? And Cole says, yeah, because their hatred is soft as baby shit. No, I don't think so. I think they believe in what's right. In their hearts and minds, what it's right. I'm kind of with them. The idea that people are being ripped from their families who are in the country illegally but have been otherwise peace-loving people who have lived great lives, they don't like that. That's what they're fighting for, and that's, in my opinion, a very noble thing to fight for. But again, they are enforcing the law that was there before Trump. People grieve and memorialize loved ones differently. Wait, because Becca Shea said, oh, yeah, she went right on the stage right after. She really looks like she's grieving. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't say. I can't speak to that. I don't think anybody can, really. I mean, if somebody goes on stage after somebody died, is that the suggestion then that they're not grieving? Yeah, I cannot speak to that. And that's why Nick says people grieve and memorialize loved ones differently. Well, I know this. She has a tremendous responsibility because she's leading that organization, Turning Point USA. And I'm sure there's a lot of pressure to do that. She is now running it. So that's something she wanted to do. I'm not judging. I'm not judging. All right, that is Act 1 of the podcast. Act 2 is available right after this one. Go check it out. What are you doing? Don't miss a second of it. Thank you so much.